Welcome back, everyone, to Echoes of Ihsan. Today we're doing another deep dive, this time into Sunan al Tirmidhi, Volume 4.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, you know this one pretty well, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited. For those who aren't familiar with Sunan al Tirmidhi, it's a collection of Hadith,
Right.
which are essentially records of...
Sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That offer, they offer guidance for Muslims
Right.
on a wide range of topics,
Exactly.
making it kind of like a spiritual guidebook.
Yeah.
For navigating life's challenges and growing closer to Allah. I mean, would you say that's an accurate summary?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's organized in a fascinating way.
Oh, yeah.
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 So instead of being a chronological account, it's meticulously categorized into themes.
Okay.
Almost like chapters in a book.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be focusing on the chapters within the theme of righteousness first,
Okay.
which explores the core of Islamic ethics.
So it's not just about the rituals.
Yeah.
But about how you live your life, your character,
Yeah.
your interactions with others, all of that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a holistic approach to living a righteous life.
Okay.
And, for instance, you might be surprised to learn that severing ties of kinship, according to the Hadith, can prevent entry into paradise.
Oh, wow. That's intense. So family ties are really emphasized.
Absolutely. Maintaining strong family ties, respecting elders, showing compassion to all living beings. These are all highlighted as fundamental aspects of Islamic ethics.
Okay.
And the Hadith even go beyond these broad values and touch upon practical matters like hospitality.
Okay, I'm curious, how does that work
Yeah.
in the context of the Hadith?
Well, there's this fascinating concept of limited hospitality. The Hadith specifies that a host's duty extends to 3 days,
Okay.
with the first day and night requiring the best possible treatment.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a balance between being generous and also recognizing practical limits.
Exactly.
Right.
Precisely. It's about finding that middle ground. And speaking of balance, remember that powerful Hadith about advising every Muslim with sincerity?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's considered so important that it's placed right alongside prayer and charity in its significance.
I have heard about that one, I think.
Yeah.
It's about offering advice that's truly meant to benefit the other person, not just to show off your own knowledge or anything like that, right?
You got it. It speaks volumes about the value Islam places on sincere and well-wishing advice within the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's considered a fundamental aspect of strengthening bonds and promoting righteousness.
That makes sense. It's like building each other up with genuine care and good intentions.
Exactly. So moving on from the overarching theme of righteousness, let's zoom in on specific chapters within this theme.
Okay.
The first one we'll explore is titled, What Has Been Related About Asking Permission?
Ooh, okay. I'm intrigued already. What's the deep dive on that?
Well, this chapter emphasizes the Islamic values of privacy and respect. So imagine knocking on a door and waiting to be invited in.
Yeah.
That physical act reflects a deeper respect for boundaries.
Right.
It's about not causing inconvenience or intruding upon others' personal space.
So it's more than just being polite.
Yeah.
It's tied to a deeper understanding of
Respect.
respect and consideration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a hadith
Okay.
in this chapter
Yeah.
that narrates the Prophet Muhammad instructing his companions not to even look into people's homes without permission.
Wow, really?
This emphasizes the sensitivity Islam places on respecting boundaries.
So it's not just about physical boundaries.
Right.
It extends to emotional and psychological space as well.
Absolutely. It's about being considerate and mindful of the impact our actions have on others, even in subtle ways.
I see. It's like being aware of that invisible bubble around each person.
Right.
And being respectful of it.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
This emphasis on seeking permission is actually a beautiful reflection of a broader Islamic principle called adab.
Adab. Isn't that like, it's a complex concept with layers of meaning, right?
It is. It encompasses good manners, etiquette, and even extends to moral conduct. So think of it as the art of living gracefully and ethically in the world, considering the impact of your actions on yourself and those around you.
Wow. That's like striving for excellence in how you live, not just what you do.
That's beautifully put.
Yeah.
And seeking permission, even in seemingly small matters,
Okay.
becomes a practice in cultivating adab.
So asking to enter a home isn't just a formality,
Yeah.
but a way of putting this deeper principle into practice.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. So what's next in our exploration of righteousness.
The next chapter delves into another seemingly simple act with profound implications.
Okay.
It's titled, What Has Been Related About Greeting with Salam?
Ah, salam. Peace. That's like the foundation of any interaction, right?
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah.
And the hadith in this chapter go beyond just the simple act of greeting.
Okay.
Yeah, they highlight how salam can be a way of actively spreading peace, creating a ripple effect of goodwill.
Okay, I'm all ears. What kind of ripple effect are we talking about?
Well, there's this one hadith
Okay.
that really stands out. It says that a person won't enter paradise until they believe.
Right.
And they won't truly believe until they love one another. And how does the hadith recommend fostering this love?
Yeah.
By spreading salam amongst each other.
Whoa. So saying salam isn't just about being polite.
Right.
It's linked to faith, love, and even entering paradise.
Exactly. It elevates the act of greeting to a spiritual practice. Initiating salam is seen as extending a hand of peace, breaking down barriers, and actively contributing to a more harmonious community.
So in a way, it's like taking a small step toward building a more peaceful world, one salam at a time.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It shows how even seemingly small actions can be imbued with profound meaning and contribute to a greater good.
I love that. It's inspiring to think about how simple acts of kindness and respect are woven into the fabric of Islamic teachings.
Absolutely. Now, the next chapter under righteousness might surprise you.
Oh.
Yeah. It's titled, What Has Been Related About Advising the Women to Give Charity?
That's interesting. What's the focus here?
Well, this chapter highlights the importance of encouraging women to participate in acts of charity,
Okay.
emphasizing their significant role in contributing to the well-being of the community.
Okay, so it's about empowering women to be active participants in giving.
Precisely. There's this powerful hadith where the Prophet Muhammad advises his companions to instruct their wives, mothers, daughters, and sisters to give charity, emphasizing that it's a means of purification and a way of drawing closer to Allah.
That's beautiful. It really emphasizes the inclusivity of Islam
Right.
and how women's contributions are valued.
Exactly. But what I find truly fascinating is how these hadith also acknowledge the specific challenges women might face in giving charity.
Okay, what kind of challenges?
Well, back then, women might not have had independent control over their finances.
Right.
Yeah, the hadith recognize this and emphasize creating an environment where women feel empowered to give according to their means.
That's really thoughtful and sensitive. It's not just about encouraging charity, but also about understanding the context of people's lives.
Exactly. It's a reminder that Islamic teachings are nuanced and take into consideration the realities of different individuals and situations.
This has been an eye-opening start to our deep dive. What's up next in our exploration of righteousness?
Let's move on to a chapter that delves into the very heart of Islamic ethics. What has been related about good character?
Okay. This sounds like a big one. I'm ready to dive in.
All right. This chapter, it dives deep into the essence of Islamic ethics, and it emphasizes the profound importance of cultivating virtues and striving for moral excellence.
It's like building that inner moral compass, right? Aligning your actions with a higher standard.
You got it. Yeah, the hadith in this chapter really emphasize traits like honesty, trustworthiness, compassion, kindness, humility.
Okay.
There's this powerful hadith that says those with good character will be with the Prophet Muhammad himself in paradise.
Wow. So it's not just about outward actions.
Right.
But the very essence of who you are as a person. It's a powerful motivator to work on your character.
Absolutely. And it shows how deeply intertwined faith and good character are in Islam. They're not separate things.
Right.
You know, your character becomes a reflection of your faith.
That's a beautiful way to think about it. It's like your actions become a testament to your beliefs.
Exactly. So let's move on to a chapter that's all about spreading joy and kindness to the youngest members of our community.
Okay.
It's titled, What Has Been Related About Greeting the Young Children?
Oh, I'm already smiling. Kids have a special place in the Prophet's heart, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The hadith in this chapter are heartwarming. They highlight the Prophet Muhammad's love for children and his gentle interactions with them. He would even greet young children with salam.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, showing how much he valued and acknowledged them.
That's so sweet. It's like, he was teaching us to create a society where children feel seen and loved and respected right from the start.
Exactly. It's about fostering a culture of nurturing and protecting the most vulnerable among us, recognizing their innocence and purity.
And I bet it teaches those kids to be kind and respectful too,
Right.
by experiencing it firsthand.
That's the ripple effect.
Yeah?
And the Hadith, they also emphasize how important it is for adults to set good examples for children because they are always watching and learning from their environment.
It's a huge responsibility.
It is.
It's like we're shaping the next generation with our actions and our words.
You're absolutely right. So shifting gears a bit, let's explore a chapter that delves into the heart of Islamic social structure. It's titled, What Has Been Related About Maintaining Family Ties?
Family's huge in Islam,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's important in every culture, but
Right.
it seems like it's elevated to a spiritual level in Islamic teachings.
You are spot on. Yeah, this chapter goes deep into the paramount importance Islam places on kinship and strengthening those familial bonds. It's about honoring your parents, respecting your siblings, maintaining those connections with extended family as well.
So it's not just about your immediate family, but the wider circle of relatives as well.
Exactly. And, there's a hadith in this chapter that really hits home. It says that someone who severs family ties won't enter paradise.
Whoa, that's a powerful statement. It really shows how seriously breaking those bonds is viewed.
It does.
In Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It emphasizes how important it is to nurture those loving and supportive relationships within the family.
Right.
Strong families contribute to the well-being of individuals, and the overall strength of the community.
Yeah, it's like, it's not just a personal matter.
Right.
It affects the fabric of society as a whole.
That is a great way to think about it. And, even when disagreements or conflicts arise, the Hadith encourage acts of kindness, forgiveness, generosity towards family members.
That's so important because, families fight. They, sometimes they have conflicts.
Right.
But it's about recognizing the value of those relationships, even when things get tough, and choosing to preserve them.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
So, moving on to something a little lighter.
Okay.
Let's explore a chapter that's all about spreading joy and strengthening bonds through tangible acts of kindness. It's titled, What Is It Related About Giving a Gift?
Ooh, I love gifts. Giving and receiving, it's all good.
Right. And this chapter is a reminder that giving gifts goes beyond just a material exchange. It's about expressing love, gratitude, strengthening bonds in a tangible way.
It's like putting those good feelings into a physical form that someone can hold and cherish.
Exactly. Yeah, there's this hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad himself encouraged giving gifts.
Really?
As a way to increase love between people.
That makes so much sense. It's like a physical manifestation of your
Right.
care and affection.
And the hadith also stress the importance of giving without expecting anything in return.
Right.
It's about the sincerity of the act, not the potential reward.
So it's about giving from the heart, purely to bring joy to the other person.
You got it.
Right.
Now, let's shift gears a bit and explore a chapter that highlights the Islamic principle of promoting public safety
Okay.
and well-being.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Removing Harm from the Road.
Okay, so it's about being considerate of others, even in public spaces, like not leaving your trash around
Right.
or making a mess.
That's part of it.
Okay.
But the hadith in this chapter go even deeper.
Oh, okay.
They emphasize clearing any obstacles from pathways so people can pass safely and easily.
So it's about making the world, literally,
Yeah.
a little bit easier
Yeah.
for everyone to navigate.
You got it. And there's this incredible hadith
Okay.
that says the Prophet Muhammad considered removing something harmful from the road as an act of charity.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
It's like a simple act of kindness that benefits the entire community.
Exactly. It's about being aware of your surroundings and taking proactive steps to make things better for everyone. And this principle goes beyond just physical obstacles.
So it's not just about picking up trash,
Right.
but about avoiding actions that might cause harm or inconvenience to others in any way.
Precisely. It's about embodying that spirit of social responsibility that Islam emphasizes. It's about contributing to the well-being of the community in every way you can.
I love that. It's like we're all responsible for creating a safer, more pleasant environment for everyone to share.
Exactly. Now, the next chapter deals with something that's absolutely fundamental
Okay.
to strong relationships. Trust.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Sittings Are to Be Held in Trust.
Okay, so this is about respecting confidentiality
Yeah.
and not gossiping.
You are on the right track. Yeah, this chapter really emphasizes that conversations and gatherings should be kept private, unless everyone agrees otherwise.
Makes sense. Yeah. You have to be able to trust that what you share in confidence
Right.
won't be spread around.
And there's a hadith
Okay.
that really drives home the gravity of betraying a trust. It says that people who do that will be raised on Judgment Day
Okay.
with a banner proclaiming their betrayal for all to see.
Wow, that's scary. It really shows how seriously Islam takes the issue of trust
It does.
and confidentiality.
It's about recognizing that, keeping secrets, and honoring confidentiality is a cornerstone of integrity and loyalty. Without trust, you can't build strong, meaningful connections.
So it's not just about being polite.
Right.
It's about building a foundation of respect
Right.
and honesty in our relationship.
Precisely. So let's move on to a chapter that's all about cultivating one of the most beautiful qualities
Okay.
a person can possess: generosity.
Generosity.
It's called What Has Been Related About Generosity.
Okay, generosity. That's a big one.
It is. And this chapter really highlights the Prophet Muhammad's generosity and encourages Muslims to cultivate this quality in themselves. There's a beautiful hadith that says, Allah loves the generous person.
Wow. So generosity isn't just a good deed.
Right.
It's something that brings you closer to Allah.
Absolutely. And remember, generosity isn't limited to material wealth.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it can be giving your time, your knowledge, your skills, your compassion, anything that comes from a place of genuine care and willingness to share.
So it's really about an attitude of abundance and willingness to share what you have,
Right.
no matter what it is.
Exactly. It's about having that open heart and recognizing that everything we have is a gift from Allah.
Yeah.
And the hadith, they also emphasize giving without expecting anything in return, without any strings attached.
So it's about giving freely without keeping score
Exactly.
or expecting a reward.
You got it. Now let's explore the flip side
Okay.
of generosity. The next chapter is called What Has Been Related About Stinginess.
Okay.
And it sheds light on the negative consequences of holding back and hoarding.
Oof. Stinginess. That doesn't sound like a good quality to have.
It's definitely something to avoid, yeah. The hadith in this chapter caution against the dangers of stinginess, both for our spiritual well-being and our relationships with others.
Okay, so it's not just about being a bit tight-fisted.
Right.
It actually has deeper implications.
Exactly. Yeah, there's this hadith. Okay.
That says, a stingy person will be far from Allah on the day of judgment.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
So it's seen as like a barrier between you and Allah.
It can be.
Okay.
Yeah. Stinginess can stem from a place of fear and scarcity, a lack of trust in Allah's provision.
Right.
It's like saying, I don't believe you'll provide for me,
Right.
so I'd have to hold on to everything I have.
That makes sense. It's like it's a form of ingratitude, a lack of trust in Allah's abundance.
Yeah, I got it. And stinginess doesn't just affect your relationship with Allah, it also creates barriers between people. It hinders the flow of compassion and support within the community.
It's like it cuts off that natural flow of giving and receiving that builds strong bonds between people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the hadith in this chapter encourage us to combat stinginess by cultivating a mindset of abundance, recognizing that everything we have comes from Allah, not from our own efforts.
Right.
It's a powerful shift in perspective. It's like, realizing that you're a channel for Allah's blessings, not the source of them.
Right.
That changes everything.
It does. Now, let's move on to a chapter that focuses on one of the most important responsibilities in Islam,
Okay. Yeah.
providing for your family. It's called What Has Been Related About Spending on the Family.
Family's everything, right? So this is about ensuring their well-being, taking care of their needs.
Absolutely. Yeah, the hadith in this section highlight the importance of fulfilling your financial obligations to your family,
Right.
ensuring their security, providing for them. There's this beautiful hadith
Okay.
that says the best money a man spends is on his family.
Wow, that's a beautiful way to look at it. It's not just an obligation,
Right.
but an act of love and devotion.
Exactly. It's about prioritizing the needs of your loved ones and seeing it as an opportunity to draw closer to Allah. You know, the Hadith really encourage us to view providing for our families not as a burden,
Right.
but as an act of worship.
It's like, it's a way of showing your gratitude for your family and honoring the trust Allah has placed in you to care for them.
Beautifully said. Now, let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And explore a chapter that emphasizes the importance of creating a welcoming and hospitable atmosphere for guests.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Hospitality and What is the Limit of Hospitality?
Okay. Hospitality is huge in many cultures, but especially in Islam, right?
Yeah.
It's about more than just offering someone a cup of tea.
You are exactly right. Yeah, this chapter dives deep into the Islamic tradition of welcoming guests and emphasizes the significance of treating them with kindness, generosity, respect, making them feel truly welcomed in your home.
It's about creating that sense of warmth and comfort.
Yeah.
Making them feel like they truly belong.
Right.
Even if it's just for a short time.
You got it. And remember that concept of limited hospitality we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
The hadith about the host's duty extending to 3 days.
Yeah.
Well, that comes up again in this chapter.
So it's about finding that balance between being generous,
right,
but also recognizing practical limits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about finding that middle ground.
Right.
Where you're extending warmth and generosity without putting an undue burden on yourself.
And the hadith encourage us to see hospitality as an opportunity to earn Allah's pleasure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not just a social custom,
right,
but a spiritual practice,
right,
that can strengthen bonds between people and bring us closer to Allah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It elevates the act of welcoming guests to a whole new level.
It does. Now, shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
Let's explore a chapter that touches on the Islamic emphasis on caring for the most vulnerable members of society.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Looking After the Widow and the Orphan.
This is a theme that comes up again and again in the Quran,
right?
Like caring for the orphans and widows is like a fundamental pillar of social justice in Islam.
You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
This chapter beautifully highlights the Prophet Muhammad's compassion for widows and orphans and encourages all Muslims to provide them with support and protection.
So it's about recognizing their vulnerability and stepping up to help those who need it most.
Exactly. And there's a hadith that says those who care for widows and orphans will be with the Prophet Muhammad in paradise.
Wow. So it's not just a good deed.
Right.
It's something that brings you closer to Allah.
Right.
And earns you a place in paradise.
It does. And it's not just about material support. The hadith also emphasize the importance of offering emotional care and making widows and orphans feel like they truly belong within the community.
It's about providing that sense of belonging and support.
Right.
Filling that void that loss can create.
Beautifully said. So, moving on to something a little lighter.
Okay.
Let's explore a chapter that emphasizes the importance of creating a positive and welcoming atmosphere.
Through our facial expressions and demeanor.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About a Smiling and Cheerful Face.
Okay, this sounds like a fun one. Smiling's contagious, right?
Right.
It can really brighten someone's day.
Absolutely, yeah. And the hadith in this chapter really highlight the Prophet Muhammad's cheerful disposition and encourage all Muslims to greet each other with smiles and kind words.
So it's not just about being polite.
Right.
But about radiating that warmth and positivity in your interactions with others.
Exactly. And there's a hadith that says, smiling at your brother is an act of charity.
Wow, I like that one. It's a simple gesture.
It is.
But it can have such a profound impact.
Right.
Yeah, it's like spreading a little bit of sunshine wherever you go.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And the hadith, they really encourage us to cultivate a habit of smiling. Not just as a social nicety, but as a genuine expression of goodwill and compassion.
It's like choosing to radiate positivity and kindness, even in small ways.
You got it. Now let's explore a chapter that goes to the heart of building trust and integrity. It's called What Has Been Related About Truthfulness and Falsehood.
Okay. Honesty is the best policy, right?
It is.
That's something we learn from a young age.
And this chapter really emphasizes the Prophet Muhammad's unwavering commitment to truthfulness
Mm.
and warns against the dangers of deception.
Mm.
There's a powerful hadith that says, truthfulness leads to righteousness,
Mm-hmm.
and righteousness leads to paradise.
So it's not just about avoiding lying.
Right.
It's about cultivating a deep commitment to honesty as
Right.
a path to spiritual growth.
Yeah.
And closeness to Allah.
Exactly. And on the flip side, the hadith in
Mm.
this chapter
Okay.
condemn lying
Okay.
as a great sin,
Mm. That can.
corrupt the heart,
Mm-mm.
and undermine
Yeah.
the foundations of society.
It's like it creates a crack in the foundation of trust.
Yeah. That holds relationships and communities together.
You are exactly right. So the Hadith encourage us to be truthful in all our dealings, even when it's difficult
Right.
or inconvenient.
It's about choosing integrity,
Yeah.
even when it's hard,
Right.
because it ultimately aligns you with a higher purpose.
Beautifully said. Now, let's explore a chapter that addresses the importance of using language that is respectful and avoids vulgarity or obscenity.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Al-Fushush, Obscenity.
Okay, so this is about choosing words that uplift
Right.
rather than degrade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Hadith in this chapter highlight the Prophet Muhammad's disapproval of obscene speech and encourage Muslims to use language
Yeah.
that is pure, respectful, and dignified. There's a Hadith that says a true believer doesn't engage in obscenity.
So it's like, it's incompatible with true faith to use
Right.
language that's harmful or demeaning.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our words have power and that choosing to speak in a way that promotes kindness and understanding
Mhm.
is a reflection of our commitment to spiritual growth.
Like, our words become a form of action,
Right.
shaping the energy and atmosphere around us.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So let's move on to a chapter
Okay.
that delves into the Islamic perspective on using curses.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About the Curse.
Ooh, curses. That's interesting. So it's about being careful with your words, not throwing them around lightly.
Exactly. Yeah, the Hadith in this chapter provide guidance on the appropriate use of curses,
Right.
emphasizing the importance of restraint and avoiding excessive or unjustified cursing.
Right.
There's this Hadith that says if you curse something undeservingly,
Okay.
the curse can return upon you.
Whoa, so it's like your words have a boomerang effect.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a reminder that curses should be used sparingly
Right.
and with careful consideration because they carry weight and have the potential to cause harm.
It's like recognizing the power of your words
Right.
and choosing to use them
Yeah.
wisely and responsibly.
You got it. Now, let's explore a chapter that delves into the importance of preserving family history and understanding our roots.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Learning About Lineage.
Ooh, genealogy. That's fascinating. I love learning about family history.
Right.
Yeah, it connects you to something bigger than yourself.
It does. And this chapter emphasizes how important it is in Islam to learn about your ancestry, recognize your roots, and honor the legacy of your forefathers.
It's like connecting to that chain of generations that came before you,
Right.
and recognizing your place in that lineage.
Exactly. And there's this hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad encouraged learning about lineage as a way to strengthen family ties and understand your place within the wider community.
So it's not just about personal curiosity.
Right.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of generations.
Right.
And honoring the contributions of those who came before you.
Precisely.
Huh.
It's about recognizing that you're part of a larger narrative that extends beyond your individual life.
That's beautiful. It's like realizing that you're a link in a chain
Right.
that stretches back through time and connects you to a rich heritage.
You are exactly right. So let's explore a chapter that delves into the power of prayer and the impact our words can have, even when someone isn't physically present. It's called What Has Been Related About a Brother Supplicating for His Brother in His Absence.
Okay, this sounds intriguing. So it's about the power of prayer to transcend physical distance.
Exactly, yeah. The Hadith in this chapter highlight the Prophet Muhammad's encouragement for Muslims to make sincere supplications for their fellow believers,
Okay.
even when those believers are far away.
It's like sending good vibes out into the universe.
Right.
Even if you can't be there in person.
Exactly. And there's this powerful hadith that says, when you pray for someone in their absence, an angel is appointed to say amen to your prayer.
Wow.
And you receive the same reward as the person you're praying for.
So it's like your prayer is amplified by the angels.
It is.
And you share in the blessings.
Yeah, it shows the profound impact our prayers can have on others, even when we're separated by distance.
It's like creating a web of spiritual support and connection through the power of prayer.
You got it. Now, shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
Let's explore a chapter that focuses on the etiquette of prayer and field, highlights actions and behaviors that are discouraged during this sacred act. It's called What Has Been Related About What Is Disliked About the Prayer of a Man.
Okay, so this is about approaching prayer with the right mindset.
Yeah.
And avoiding distractions.
You are on the right track. Yeah, this chapter emphasizes the importance of approaching prayer with humility, focus, reverence, avoiding anything that might detract from the solemnity of the act.
So it's about creating that sacred space where you can truly connect with Allah.
Right.
Without distractions or interruptions.
Exactly. And there's this hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad discouraged praying when you are drowsy or fatigued.
Makes sense. You wouldn't want to fall asleep during prayer.
Right.
But it's more than that, right?
Yeah.
It's about being fully present and engaged in the act of worship.
You got it. It's about recognizing that prayer is a time for spiritual communion with Allah.
Yeah.
And that requires our full attention and sincerity.
It's like giving Allah your undivided attention and showing respect through your focus and your presence.
Exactly. And the hadith also discourage, rushing through prayers.
Right.
Yeah. It's about taking your time, performing them with calmness, deliberation, and truly connecting with Allah.
It's like savoring the experience. Yeah. And allowing yourself to be fully immersed in that sacred space.
Now, the next chapter delves into a specific aspect of prayer etiquette. What has been related about raising one's gaze to the sky while praying?
Interesting. So there's a specific way to look during prayer.
Well, this chapter offers guidance on raising your gaze towards the heavens during prayer. It emphasizes that while it's permissible, it should be done with humility and a sense of awe, not arrogance or distraction.
So it's not about staring blankly ahead.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the grandeur of Allah's creation while maintaining focus on the prayer itself.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's this hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad himself would raise his gaze towards the sky during prayer. So it's definitely permissible.
So it's like finding that balance between acknowledging the vastness of creation and keeping your focus on the intimate connection with Allah.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So now, the next chapter addresses the importance of maintaining cleanliness and respect within the mosque, the tawars, the sacred space dedicated to prayer.
Right.
It's called What Has Been Related About the Prohibition of Spitting in the Direction of the Qibla.
Okay, so this is about respecting the sanctity of the prayer space.
Yeah.
And treating it with reverence.
Exactly. The hadith in this chapter highlight the Prophet Muhammad's emphasis on treating the Qibla, the direction Muslims face during prayer, with the utmost respect and avoiding any actions that might defile the sanctity of the prayer space.
It's like recognizing that you're in a special place.
Right.
And adjusting your behavior accordingly.
And there's a hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad specifically prohibited spitting in the direction of the Qibla.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about avoiding major acts of disrespect, but also being mindful of even small actions that might be considered disrespectful or unhygienic.
You're exactly right. It's about cultivating that sense of awareness and reverence for the sacredness of the mosque.
It's like stepping into a space that's filled with spiritual energy and choosing to honor that energy through your actions and demeanors.
Beautifully said. Now, the next chapter delves further into the etiquette of prayer and emphasizes the importance of maintaining focus and concentration during this act of worship. It's called What Has Been Related, about the prohibition of looking here and there while praying.
Okay, so this is about avoiding distractions and keeping your mind focused on the prayer.
Exactly. The hadith in this chapter discourage looking around or letting your gaze wander during prayer, emphasizing the importance of directing your attention solely towards Allah.
So it's about cultivating that inner stillness and shutting out the external world and tuning into your connection with Allah.
You got it. And there is a hadith that says, the prayer of someone who looks around isn't accepted.
Really?
That's a pretty powerful statement.
Wow. So it's like your lack of focus
Yeah.
can actually affect the validity of your prayer.
It can.
That's a strong motivator to stay present and attentive.
It is. It's a reminder that prayer is about more than just going through the motions. It's about aligning your mind, body, and spirit in devotion to Allah.
It's like creating a sacred space within yourself.
Right.
Where you can truly connect with the divine.
Beautifully said. Now let's explore a chapter that emphasizes the importance of presenting ourselves in the best possible manner.
Okay.
For Friday prayers, it's called What Has Been Related About Wearing the Best of One's Clothes for the Jumu'ah Prayer.
Okay, so this is about dressing up for Friday prayers.
Yeah.
Showing respect through your outward appearance.
You're on the right track. This chapter encourages Muslims to wear their finest attire for Jumu'ah prayer, signifying the importance and sanctity of this congregational prayer.
It's like showing honor and respect for the occasion through your attire.
Exactly. And there's a hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad himself would wear his best clothes for Jumu'ah prayer.
Really?
So it's definitely a practice with a strong basis in tradition.
So it's about elevating the occasion and showing your reverence for Allah through your outward appearance.
Exactly. It's a way of honoring the communal and spiritual significance of Jumu'ah prayer.
I like that it's like dressing your best for a special occasion.
Right.
Because your relationship with Allah is the most special relationship you have.
Beautiful said. Now the next chapter delves into specific rulings.
Okay.
For those who arrive late for Friday prayers, it's called What Has Been Related About the Ruling on the One Who Arrives at the Jumu'ah prayer while the Imam is delivering the khutbah.
Okay, so this is about what to do if you miss part of the prayer.
Exactly. This chapter provides guidance on the appropriate actions. For those who join the Jumu'ah prayer after the Imam has begun delivering the sermon.
So it's like there's a protocol to follow
Right.
to ensure that you fulfill the obligation of the prayer,
Yeah.
even if you arrive late.
You're exactly right. And there's a hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad instructed those who arrive late to pray 2 rakahs after the Imam finishes the prayer.
So it's like a way of catching up and making sure you fulfilled your obligation,
Right.
even if you miss part of the prayer.
Exactly. And, although this chapter is about what to do when you're late, it also encourages us to strive to arrive on time for the entire sermon and prayer.
It's like recognizing the importance of being present and attentive from the start.
Exactly. It's about showing respect for the
Right.
the congregation, and the sanctity of the prayer itself.
I like that it's about being mindful
Right.
and intentional
Yeah.
about your participation in the prayer.
You're exactly right now. The next chapter provides guidance on the etiquette of praying in congregation and highlights the importance of joining the rows and avoiding praying alone behind them.
Right.
It's called What Has Been Related About the Ruling on the One Who Prays Alone Behind the Row.
Okay, so this is about the importance of unity and praying together as a community.
Exactly. This chapter encourages Muslims to pray in straight, closely knit rows, symbolizing unity and discouraging praying alone behind the established rows.
It's like creating that visual representation
Yeah.
of togetherness and shared faith.
You got it. And there's a hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad instructed Muslims to straighten their rows and close the gaps between them.
So it's not just about standing in a line.
Right.
It's about consciously creating that sense of unity
Right.
and connection.
And there's another hadith that discourages praying alone behind the rows.
So it's about joining the collective act of worship and strengthening the bonds of brotherhood and sisterhood within the community.
You're exactly right. It's about recognizing that prayer in congregation isn't just about fulfilling an individual obligation, but about fostering a sense of community support and shared spiritual experience.
I love that it elevates the act of prayer
It
to
does.
the communal level.
It does. Now, let's shift gears and explore a chapter that emphasizes the importance of protecting the reputation and dignity of our fellow believers.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Defending the Honor of the Muslim.
Okay, so this is about standing up for others and speaking out against injustice.
You're on the right track. This chapter highlights the importance of defending Muslims who are being unjustly criticized or slandered.
So it's like being an advocate for those who are being wronged or misrepresented.
Exactly. And there's a powerful hadith that says it's enough evil for a person to belittle their Muslim brother.
Wow, so it's not just about avoiding insults.
Right.
It's about actively defending the honor and reputation of others
Exactly.
when they're being unjustly attacked.
You got it. And the hadith in this chapter encourage us to be mindful of our speech, avoid gossiping, and actively defend those who are being falsely accused. It's about being an ally and standing up for what's right.
It's like recognizing that our words have the power to build up or tear down and choosing to use them to protect and support others.
Beautifully said. Now the next chapter delves deeper into the importance of safeguarding the reputation of our fellow believers and avoiding focusing on their flaws or shortcomings. It's called What Has Been Related About a Man Mentioning the Faults of His Brother.
Okay, so this is about choosing to see the good in others and overlooking their imperfections.
Exactly. This chapter discourages highlighting the flaws of our fellow Muslims and encourages us to focus on their positive attributes.
This is about recognizing that everyone makes mistakes.
Right.
And choosing to focus on their strengths rather than their weaknesses.
You got it. And there's a hadith that says, whoever covers the faults of a Muslim, Allah will cover his faults in this world and the hereafter.
Wow. So it's like by choosing to overlook the flaws of others, you're earning Allah's forgiveness and mercy for yourself.
It shows how powerful acts of kindness and compassion can be,
Yeah.
both for ourselves and for those we choose to support.
It's like creating a ripple effect of positivity by choosing to focus on the good in others.
Exactly. Now let's explore a chapter that addresses a specific form of slander that's particularly harmful and destructive.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Backbiting.
Okay, backbiting. That's like talking about someone behind their back, right?
You're exactly right. The hadith in this chapter condemn backbiting,
Right.
defining it as speaking about a Muslim in a way that they would dislike if they were present.
So it's about being mindful of what you say about others, even when they're not around.
Exactly. And there's a very powerful hadith that says the Prophet Muhammad compared backbiting to eating the flesh of a dead brother.
Oh, wow. That's intense.
It does. It's about recognizing that our words can have a lasting impact.
Yeah.
And that we should strive to speak about others in a way that is kind, respectful, and truthful, even when they're not around.
It's like recognizing the sanctity of another person's reputation.
Right.
And choosing to honor that even in their absence.
Beautifully said. Now let's explore a chapter that delves into the broader concept of false accusations and the Islamic prohibition against spreading lies.
Okay.
It's called What Has Been Related About Slander.
So this is about the gravity of making false statements about others and the harm it can cause.
Exactly. The hadith in this section emphasize the severity of slander and highlight the damage it can do to a person's reputation and standing within the community.
It's like weaponizing words to hurt and discredit others.
You're exactly right. And there's a hadith that says slander is worse than adultery.
Wow.
Which really shows how serious this sin is.
That puts it into perspective. It really shows the weight that Islam places on truthfulness and protecting the reputation of others.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that false accusations can have devastating consequences, not just for the individual, but for the entire community.
It's like it erodes the fabric of trust that holds society together.
You're absolutely right. And that brings our exploration of the righteousness chapters of Sunan al Tirmidhi Volume 4 to a close.
Wow, what an incredible journey through these teachings. It's amazing how much wisdom and guidance is packed into these hadiths.
It is.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
We have, but I think it's a great starting point for reflection and contemplation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What stood out to you the most from all these hadiths?
You know, what really struck me was how interconnected everything is. It's not just about following a set of rules, but about cultivating a certain way of being in the world.
Right.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of our actions, our character, and our relationship with Allah.
It's like every action, every word, every thought
Right.
is an opportunity to align ourselves with a higher purpose.
Beautifully put, and I think that's a beautiful takeaway for our listeners as well.
Absolutely. We encourage you to dive deeper into Sunan al Tirmidhi and explore these teachings further. There's so much wisdom to be gained from reflecting on these hadiths and applying them to your own lives.
And as always, remember that seeking knowledge is a lifelong journey. There's always more to learn and discover.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another exploration of faith and knowledge.